World Between the World Wars, Part 2. The economic depression began around the end of 1929 and lasted almost 1939. Due to the Second World War, many factories were closed and also prices were increased. Because of the expensive of goods, people purchasing power were reduced. And also a stock market collapsed in the US, but very soon it affected almost every country. As factories were closed down, the trade also declined, so there is no demand for agriculture produce. So farmers also stopping their cultivation. The economists and politicians have discussed the causes of this decline. Especially the Marxist economists argued that this kind of crisis happened because of capitalism. So economists like J.M. Keynes argued that the state is responsible to keep the economies going, and if it is failed to do so, it can lead to the situations of depression. Keynes also argued that during economic decline, when demand decreases, the state should invest funds and generate employment which will help people to earn money and demand goods in the market. In the US, to help the US economy, the Franklin Roosevelt, who became the president of US, announced that New Deal policy, which promised that 3R system, it is relief, reform, recovery. The US established a permanent system of universal retirement pensions, social security, and unemployment insurance. The Great Britain also had taken the lead in this direction even before the Depression when war was still on. The Britain also adopted many social security measures like unemployment doles, sickness coverage, health insurance, and child care, and all this made up the idea of welfare state. Economic depression in Germany. German economy faced a severe crisis after World War because it is burden of paying war damages according to the Treaty of Versailles. So it started printing currency notes on a large scale, and this resulted the excessive inflation. It is said that people had to carry currency in carts to buy one loaf of bread. In 1932, the industrial production was reduced to 40% of its 1929 level. Many workers they lost their job, and they are showing some placards in the streets of Germany. The placard saying that willing to do any work, as there are very few jobs, but the youth took the criminal activities other than these jobs. The economic crisis created deep anxieties and fears in people. This caused political instability as government after government failed and could not provide a stable rule. At the same time, two different ideologies was raised. The fascism, one of the ideology which developed in the period after the First World War, especially in the defeated countries. It emphasized the idea of national unity in order to expand and win over the other nations. The both ideologies were against the both communism and liberalism. Fascists wanted to build unity in their nations through a dictatorial state that promoted the mass mobilization of the majority community of the nation. Fascist movement shared certain common features like worshipping of the state, a devotion of the strong leader like Hitler, and an emphasis on extreme nationalism and military conquest. The fascism first began with the victory of Benito Mussolini in Italy in 1922. Then the Hitler and his Nazi party came to power in Germany in 1933. Hitler was a powerful speaker. His passion and his words moved many people. He also promised to build a strong nation and restore the dignity of the German people. Hitler devised a new style of politics. He understood the importance of rituals and spectacles to mobilize the masses. Nazis held massive rallies and public meetings to demonstrate the support of Hitler and create a sense of unity among the people. The red banners with the swastika, the Nazi salute, and the ritual rounds of applause after the speeches were all the part of this display of power. The Hitler mobilized his supporters by promising to establish the racial supremacy of Aryans, Germans, over the world. He also targeted minority communities like Jews as the main cause of all problems which are facing the Germany. He also attacked that communism and capitalism terming both of them as Jewish conspiracies. And also he appealed that especially to the middle class who felt threatened by the capitalism and the Great Depression. Hitler was also opposed to working class movement led by the communist and socialist. In such a situation, the Nazi party's propaganda gave some hopes of a better future. So Hitler was an unquestioned leader of the Nazi party. In 1928, the Nazi party had got less than 2.6% of votes in Reichstag elections. But in 1932, he had become the largest party in the Germany with 37% of votes. The Hitler came to power and immediately took steps to establish undemocratic and autocratic rule in Germany. Finally, on 3rd March 1933, the famous Enabling Act was passed. This act established that dictatorship in Germany, and it gave Hitler all powers to sideline the parliament and rule by his order. All the political parties and trade unions were banned except for the Nazi party and its followers. Some special surveillance and security forces were appointed to control and order the society. They are SA, Gestapo, SS, and SD. Among them, the Gestapo had the authority to stop and detain people to torture chambers and round up and send them to the concentration camps. These powers were used to arrest and torture the millions of political activists, trade unionists, and people of minority communities, especially the Jews. Hitler followed an aggressive foreign policy to recover the territories lost by Germany after the First World War. The Hitler assigned the responsibility of economic recovery to the economist Zalmar Schacht. The Schacht aimed at full production and full employment through a state-funded work and create program. This project produced the famous German superhighways and the people's car called Volkswagen. The Germany had started a genocidal war. In this war, the mass murder of selected groups of innocent civilians of Europe took place. The number of people killed included about 6 million Jewish people, 2 million of Gypsies, 1 million of Polish civilians, and 70,000 of Germans who were considered mentally and physically disabled. They killed thousands of people in the gas chambers in various killing centers like Auschwitz.